Twisha Christian, it is truly March mayhem. It's no longer madness. It is March mayhem. And with what's getting ready to happen, I don't want you guys to fear. There should be no fear. And I said a while back in one of my videos, when things are going to get rough, you guys need to make sure that you guys have, food and everything, because it really depends on where you live, especially with everything that's going on with the virus. It really depends. If you're listening to me from New York as opposed to out in Idaho somewhere, it's going to be different for you, right? So you guys need to be prepared. Right now, there's a lot of news. You guys know the stock markets have been swinging up and down. Currently, it's up right now as we speak. And one of the things that I do look for the Dow to hit 20,000. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen, that it's going to, it may even go down to 14 or 15,000. Right? So we don't really know how far this is going to go, how far this is going to, especially with the emergency that's about to be declared. All right, so I usually check the Judge Report a couple times a day, and that's where there's a lot of information that I get from here. Plus, they link to like a lot of other news agencies. Down here at the bottom, they have all the different news media outlets and alternative news and so forth. So you could go and check them out. I check it a couple times a day just to see what's going on, because he does report a lot of the things that have been going on with the Federal Reserve, for a long time. So Trump is getting ready to declare national emergency. So folks, right now we are in the perfect storm, right? And so is Iraq. All right, so we have the Dow with its wild swings. Oil right now is suffering. We don't know how low oil could get, with the Saudis and with what's going on with the oil war. Right? We don't know how that's going to play out and why they chose to do it during this time period. So, of course, media is going to tell you, this could last 2 months. So they're going to start, probably certain areas, certain states, maybe even certain cities, maybe put on a lockdown. So you guys need to be aware of that. They're already doing it all over the world. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, folks. I think, and I'm just going to say this. I believe that it was an attack on the world economy. So, and that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave it at that. So in big areas, Los Angeles is closing schools. New York is closing schools. Nursing homes are going on lockdown. Hospitals are going on lockdown. So the president of Brazil, who tested positive, and you see him here shaking hands with the president, who knows what is going to happen out of all that? Because if a president of the United States was to announce that he has the virus, right, how would that affect the stock markets? So there is a lot to that. That could be very, very big. So now, focusing on Iraq, there's all the countries that they're in the Middle East. They're locking down their borders. You have everything that's already going on there. The tensions between the United States and that other regime that's over there. Then you have what's going on in Iraq. The protests and everything. You see here, Jordan restricts land air travel with Iraq to block coronavirus. Jordan closes borders with occupied West Bank, Egypt, and Iraq. And of course, recently you also had the attack on the base there, and then there was a retaliation. So you got that brewing over there too as well. So when it comes to quarantine, that would be the perfect storm, because you have the virus, you have the oil prices going down to $20. That's what Johnny is talking about. He's been saying it for a long time about the oil, being at $20 a barrel. And not only that, if you guys had listened to one of his last few videos, he talked about, what will the Fed do? What's going to happen when they have to Are they going to inject, over $1 trillion in a day? And he called it out. And that's devastating. I mean, when you really think about it, to put $1 trillion into the markets, when you look at the way that our country is, and you see the just amount of the money that's going into trying to save the markets from coming down. But see, it was already going to happen anyway without this. This just speeds up the process, put it that way. So here we are, right? I think we are in the perfect storm for the global currency reset. It's time to watch. It's now time to start watching. Now, these are the things that I'm looking for. I'm still looking for the feds to continue to pump in money to the point to where they say they can't do it anymore, or they can no longer stop what's coming, right? I also look for the Dow to go below 20,000. All right, not saying there's going to be a reset right at that moment, because I think there are other factors, in like a body being in office or doing something. He's going to be in some position of power. One of the things that I thought about in Prophetess Solomon Dream was that maybe she didn't see a body, but one of the things that she said about the prophecy was that when they said it was time to revalue, that it was a great burden, that he's been burdened about it for a long time, right? So I would think that because when a body got into office, he was being bombarded with denarians about revaluing, right? And I'm pretty sure pressure maybe there was some pressure beforehand to do it while he was still in office. So some way he was pressured to do it. So then we still have April 6th. So with this whole thing with the virus, we don't know how that's going to affect, or are they going to delay that rule for any reason? That just remains to be seen. I don't look for anything to happen on that day. We have all these things brewing all at once. And this is, it is. For a lot of people, there's a lot of people that are listening that right now you're not in one of those areas that's, being on lockdown and everything else. So we don't have like an understanding, at least not yet, for a lot of people. And there's somebody might be listening right now that is on lockdown. But this is what we want, folks. I mean, it's sad to say this, but in order for the global currency reset, all this has to play out. The economy has to go down, and Iraq has to be into a position that they're just going to be in a situation where they just have to pull the switch. This is the recovery of the economy, is the revaluation of currencies. Right? They are going to have to push in order to get the economy back on track, to get things going at a fast pace. They are going to have to revalue their currencies, because under the old system, trying to recover from what's going on right now is going to take years. But it will be put onto a fast track through the revaluation. Alrighty, that just came right out of me. Anyways, so there's a lot going on, right? So guys, don't fear. Make sure that you have plenty of provisions. Make sure you don't have to go anywhere where you don't have to go, right? Just, you're taking precautions. That's all you're doing, is taking precautions. So folks, in a way, I'm really excited because this whole thing right now, probably at any other point in dinar history, have we seen all these things accumulate. Just to guys let you know that over the last 2 months, my father has been in and out of the hospital. He's been very sick. He's got several. He's been infected. He has diabetes, and he's gotten infection after infection. And so he's been in and out of the hospital and rehab, going back and forth. And, they're working on his foot, trying to, save his foot and also his life too as well. It doesn't take very much to get my dad sick. I mean, he could drink the wrong thing. If somebody gives him something he shouldn't have. So right now, I've been spending a lot of time at the hospital. A lot of times he cannot make a lot of his own decisions or understand what the doctor's saying. So I've been spending a lot of time in the hospital. So I just want to let you guys know, my subscribers and my Patreons, that's what's been going on for the last couple months. So I appreciate you guys' support. I just want you guys to stay encouraged and know that this reset, that the blessing, that the change in the economic system, it's coming, and it's right around the corner. Because if we go through, let me tell you something, folks. It'd be very strange that if we go through all of this, and say 6 months from now, nothing still has changed, it would be, I don't know. I would be very, very shocked if this thing does not happen, by the summertime. I'd be very shocked. But that's just my opinion. But thank you guys for listening. All the Twisted Christian support links are down below in the description. And don't forget, folks, when I get the chance, I'm going to be doing be doing some videos back on some of the stocks, because right now it's the perfect storm for a lot of those stocks. A lot of stocks that were like 60, 70 cents, they're getting down to 12 and 13 and 10 cents. And so what's going to happen when the economy starts to recover? Right? All those stocks are going to go back up, and whether it goes back up higher than where it was. There's a lot of money being made right now, and I can't even sit down at the computer and work that out like I need to, and be a part of the trading that's going on. So it's everything's just really difficult. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like. The more likes that it receives, the more that it's recommended. And with that being said, Twisted Christian out.